Hi, I am Jenny, and I am going to be having bariatric surgery this coming spring of 2020. It is currently October 14th, 2019. I am 44 years old, and I am at my current peak weight of 283 pounds, and I am 5'8". I've actually shrunk an inch and a half over the last couple of years, come to find out. So, a little bit about myself. I am a single mom of 3 children, one whom's out of the house, and then I have a 13-year-old daughter who's in the home, and a 4.5-year-old who is also at home, obviously. In addition to my kids, I am a therapeutic respite parent, and what that means is I work with children in my home who have been adopted, that have traumatic past, and they are having difficulties in their own homes due to just their inability to trust people. And so with me, they work on coping skills and on how to trust family and being able to accept love and all kinds of fun stuff like that. So my life is pretty chaotic all the time. And as if that wasn't enough, I am a full-time college student. I'm a junior at Montreat College, and I am studying psychology and human services. I will be going on for a master's in either social work or licensed mental health counseling. So I am not sure yet which way I'm going. A lot has to do on doing my GRE and scores on that, on whether I go to a school that requires one or not. So there's a lot on my plate all the time, and but that's just the way it is, right? So what got me to here? I have always been big. I was born big. I mean, I've just been big. I started Weight Watchers, or actually no, it was Diet Workshop. Sorry, I had to get the right title in there, when I was 12 years old, getting ready for my dad's wedding to Mom. That's the woman I refer to as my mom, because she is my mom. My biological mom had passed away when I was younger, and so there's lots of trauma stuff around that and about my childhood and stuff that I deal with the therapist, and but a lot of stuff that also led to me using food as a coping skill and as a defense mechanism. And it's just, yeah, food has been the one thing that's always been there and been steady, and it's gonna be a rough journey as I have to break up with food. I am a foodie. I love food. I love all kinds of food. I love foreign foods. I'm the kind of person who's traveled just to go eat specific places. Or if we're going on vacation somewhere, I research the heck out of the place to make sure that we find the best places to eat. It's just the way I've always been. I find just great pleasure in food. And that's kind of, sad. So it's going to be interesting to go from a lifestyle where I am living to eat to eating to live, as they say. It's going to be really hard, and I accept that, and I've gotten to the point in my life where I don't feel like I really have much of a choice. I have to do something. Up until now, I haven't really put a lot of thought or care, that's probably a better word, into my weight. I have always been athletic and active. In high school, I played sports. Right after high school, I became a volunteer firefighter and did that for 10 years. And, I've always been involved in, then I worked with youth groups. And so I've been an active person, and I just, was a big person, just like a lot of my family and a lot of the people from where I come from genetically, I mean, we're Irish, English, and German in upstate New York, in this little area where I'm from. And there's quite a few of us that have weight issues. And when you're around that, you don't, when everybody's heavy, you don't really put much thought into it. And when you grew up heavy and your family's heavy, my thought was, as long as I don't have any comorbidities, cool. And I have a overinflated view of myself, and used to for a long time introduce myself as perfection supersized. I just always, even though I was heavy, I owned it. I would joke around too, like it's bought and paid for every pound. And so it's really weird to be considering this, because so many people assume it's for how you look type of thing. I am the opposite of most people. When most people look in the mirror and they see themselves heavier than they are, with body dysmorphia, and I'm the opposite. I look in there and I see a skinnier person than I am, and then I see pictures and I was like, crap, I looked like that, and so, but I didn't really, I was like, whatever, so what? People love me for who I am, and I'm a pretty darn awesome person, and I have an amazing group of amazing support in my friends, and I'm really blessed with a lot of people who love me and love my family. So, what got me to this point as far as making this decision? As I said, I don't have any comorbidities. Quite the opposite. I have low blood sugar. My cholesterol is all good. My blood pressure is always really good. About the only thing I've ever battled with is I have, since I was younger, had a higher pulse. I run around 100 at all times. Even resting, it's like maybe in the mid 90s. And most of the time that's because I'm dehydrated. I am not a fan of water. I have been working on that since February. And we'll get into that a little bit here in a second of why I had to do that. But as I was saying, I've been a pretty healthy person up until the last couple of years. And a couple of years ago, I started having all kinds of just joint pain. Went through a bunch of testing. They couldn't figure it out, so they just slapped on fibromyalgia and said, fibromyalgia, whatever. Medication didn't work, so came off the medication, and just really started concentrating on eating clean. And I got rid of drinking Diet Coke after being a Diet Coke addict since I was 13. I started drinking Diet Coke when I was 13 after my first Weight Watchers Diet Workshop meeting. Sorry. It's not Weight Watchers, it was Diet Workshop at that point. It was the first one I went to. Weight Watchers was soon after. It's hard to keep track of what diets I've been on and what I haven't been on, and I've been on just about everything. I've done personal training, and I've done personal coaches, and I've always done it not even to lose weight. It is to just be the healthiest I can be. And especially the last couple of years, since originally the diet, when they said it was fibromyalgia, and not being able to find any relief from anything. But then once I got rid of the Diet Coke, the fibromyalgia symptoms for the most part have subsided, and that's been really cool. And what brought me to dropping Diet Coke is I developed a really weird disorder called chronic urticaria and angioedema. Some big words, huh? And all that chronic urticaria is chronic hives. And when we're saying chronic hives, I'm talking full body, looked like I rolled around in poison ivy and rubbed it everywhere. And I mean everywhere. And that has been a long journey to where I finally got everything under control. this past August was like, since August I've had everything, finally we have me on the right cocktail of shots and medication to keep that under control. And also stress was a big part of that. And this past summer my husband and I split up, and with him went a lot of the stress and a lot of, I actually haven't had any hives since he's been gone. So I joke around with the doctor that I don't know if it's the medicine that's finally working or if it is the lack of stress. So, and even with all of that, I wasn't too worried about my weight. I was still able to do most things. What has really brought me to this point is this past February, also about the same time I started with the urticaria, I had been horseback riding on the beach with my daughter, who I was down in Florida to get her for her adoption. And we went horseback riding on the beach, and I had to do an emergency dismount because another little girl took off on a horse down the beach, and the leader of the horses horse took off down the beach without her because she was off the horse picking up a poop. And so I had to make an emergency dismount and landed wrong on my ankle and refractured it from an old injury from a car accident 6 years ago. And it's has not healed. And not only had it not healed, a few months back, did an MRI and found out that I have pretty significant degenerative arthritis in my ankle. And my doctor had advised me that I need to lose a significant amount of weight, like a person. So at that point I am like, okay, I need to do something now. This last year with the urticaria has been hard in the sense of I've been on high doses of prednisone, and I don't know if you've been on prednisone before or not. It, first of all, emotionally makes you a raging lunatic, and it's just, yeah, I'm not a crier, and I've cried more during this time being on the steroids than I have in my whole life added together. And so that hasn't helped the situation, but even before that, I was morbidly obese. And people don't like to hear that. It's really, and I guess because I've always been a fit person and an active person, I'm solid. I have solid fat. I'm not joking. My dad has it too, like, no joke. My dad looks like Santa Claus. It's the only way I can describe him. I mean, he's got a bushy beard and it's white, and he's got a big belly, and it's solid. And that's how we are. My thighs are the size of some of my friends' waist. Like, literally, we've measured them. And I've always owned it and been like, hey, I'm muscular and I've got, but there's fat on top of that, and it's hard fat because it's been there for so long. And yeah, it needs to go, because if not, I'm facing ankle replacements, and I'm 44. I don't want to be dealing with that crap. To be honest, I want to be able to go outside and play with my kids, and I want to be able to, I had this dream not long after I jumped off the horse of being at my son Eddie, who's 4 now, being at his wedding and being pushed down the aisle in a wheelchair, and just being like just so frumpy and heavy and not being able to do anything and not being able to dance and just like not enjoying myself. I could like just see myself there, and it was awful. And being I adopted him when I was 40, it's already, it's a hard fact that I have to face, that I'm already going to be older when he does these things. And if I'm, continuing to stay morbidly obese, I'm not getting anywhere. I may not even be there to see him do these things. And that was pretty heartbreaking. Like, to be like, I may never play with my grandchildren. And I want to be an active grandparent. My mom is an active grandparent. She does all kinds of stuff with my nieces and nephews, and And that's how I want to be. You know, I want to be in my 70s and kicking around like, you know, nobody's business. And so I've got that as an example. And, you know, that's what I want to be. I don't want to be stuck in a chair and be like, oh, I can't play with you. Come sit on my lap and watch TV with me. That's not what I want for them. It's not what I want for myself. So we're on this journey. I went for my consult this past Thursday, and I really liked the doctor. Well, actually, I met the PA and really liked him, and I loved the nurses that I met there and the front desk. Everybody was so sweet, and I'm excited to get going. Things are actually, I'm scheduled for quite a few appointments immediately. This coming week, I'm going to be doing a Zika test. I've already done some blood work. The week after that, I'm seeing the psychologist. The week after that, the nutritionist. I know at some point they told me I'm going to have to do an endoscopy. And so, like, I know they're trying to knock out a lot of stuff this year, because right now, and this will happen again next year, what's really cool is my out-of-pocket maximum for my insurance has been met. Because of that disorder, I get these shots called Solaire every other week. These shots are over $3,000 a piece. So your out-of-pocket gets met very quickly. And the cool thing is I am part of a copay program where whatever the insurance doesn't pay, they pay. And so in January, again, when I get the shots, they will pay what the insurance doesn't pay. So my out-of-pocket will be met again. And all of my stuff is going to be at no charge to me. Is amazing bossing. I mean, I just can't even, and that's another part of what has brought to me, like, doing this now and not waiting anymore. So yeah, that's kind of what brought me to here. I'm nervous, just because I know this is going to be, like, insanely hard. I know there's people out there that are like, you know, you should just work out and you should just, you know, diet. I'm like, I freaking have spent my life doing this. And even, you know, even with everything, it's like the lowest in my adult life that I've been is like 212. I mean, I walked out of high school weighing 230 pounds. I think I hit 200 when I was a sophomore. And, so yeah, I'm not even, I don't know how I'm going to be able to identify myself even not being big. It's been such a part of who I am. It's been a shelter. It's been after a lot of time in therapy and stuff, like, I see it for what it is. It's been a protection. It's been a kind of a, I don't know, like, if I have all this around me, then it kind of, like, keeps everything out. So, lots of deep thoughts there, huh? So, on this journey, with my videoing, a few reasons I want to do this. Most of the videos I've seen are a few years old, and there's a lot of young people out there doing it, and bless them, and I love them, and I've watched all your videos, you know, all their videos, and I'm so grateful for them. And there's not a lot of people that are older that have done it, and those that are, I don't see a lot of parents, and I really want to, like on this document how this affects our family. And especially since I haven't seen anybody that's a single mom doing this. And that's scary. I do have a lot of support, and I will have people lined up to help me when it's time to do the surgery and stuff. So, but when it comes down to it, the, you know, initial lack of energy and stuff from going from a high calorie diet down to, like, nothing, I'm sure that's going to affect me. Having to whittle down on my medications and figure out how I can do that, you know, my medications, and do this, you know, that's another part of why we're doing it in April, is just trying to, you know, now that I finally got this urticaria stuff under control, which is awesome, but I literally take 20-something pills a day. We're trying to taper down on a lot of stuff because we recently added, I get an injection every other week, and then I take they added this new pill, and that seems to be what's working. And so I'm hoping to come off everything else. But I also, to give full disclosure, I take Effexor. They originally put me on it when I had a hysterectomy when I was 31 years old. I had lots of stuff like fibroids, endometriosis, and cyst. And so after the surgery, I couldn't take hormones, and they put me on Effexor for hot flashes. But one of the cool things with that is, and they didn't know this beforehand, I dealt with quite a bit of anxiety. I have a lot of social anxiety. Nobody would ever know it. I can sit one-on-one and talk to you. I can stand in front of a group of 200 people and talk. But if I am to go into a room, like a party, give me a job to do and I'm there. It's usually making food and serving food, because that's what I love to do. All right, so I am going to wrap this up. I think the last thing, and I don't think we got through this whole video and I did not say which procedure I was going to do. So lastly, I went into it wanting to do the VSG, the vertical gastric sleeve, and the doctor thought that was a really good fit for me, and it looks like hopefully we're going to be able to do the one with the robot, do it laparoscopically, so that will be really cool. I did ask him if they use the robot, if I could bring my phone in there and if they would take pictures of me with my stomach all bloated out with a robot working on me. So we'll see if they'll do it. I've been able to manage to get some other doctors in the past to do some pretty crazy stuff like that. So, you know, like I'm somebody who actually has pictures of what my fibroid looked like, because my aunt was working in the OR at the time and she got them to snap a picture from the laparoscopic procedure, and I was like, ooh, it's so pretty. With that being said, I am really excited and nervous for this, and yeah, so I will see you next time, I guess.